How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and in this video I'm going to be doing a highway driving review on my 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. So let's go ahead and get on the highway right up here. So just for context, like I said, this is a 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. I've had it for about a year, and it does have a 3-inch lift with 31-inch mud tires. That's kind of the main reason why we're doing this test, is just to show you guys how it actually handles on the highway. So I have driven it on the highway one time before, and to be honest, it actually wasn't too bad. But before we actually begin, I did want to let you guys know that I will be pretty nitpicky in this video. I just wanted to let you guys know all the things that you should keep in mind if you are planning on driving your lifted Jeep on the highway. So I absolutely love this Jeep, so just keep that in mind whenever you're watching this video and I say something negative. So anyways, getting on the highway right now, we are on the on-ramp. As you know, Jeeps aren't really made for acceleration, especially not lifted ones that have 31-inch mud tires on them. So if I'm being completely honest, I'm going like 50 miles an hour right now, right behind this 18-wheeler. And you know, as you can see, it's completely stable. I can take my hand off the wheel and it's going straight, no vibrations, no shaking or anything. One factor you have to keep in mind is the wind, and that's a pretty common thing with Jeeps, is that they're very affected by the wind. So once we get on the bridge out here, I'll show you guys, it's probably going to be pretty windy, so we're going to be floating around the lane a little bit. So that'll be pretty interesting for you guys to see how this Jeep actually gets affected by strong wind. So right now, cruising at, I'd say 68 miles an hour. Doing just fine. I don't have any complaints right now. The real problem comes when you're trying to go up a long hill. So right now, obviously, we're going downhill, and we're not having any problems keeping up to the speed limit or keeping up with the flow of traffic. But once we actually start going up that long uphill that's right ahead of us, then you guys will see it's going to be a bit of a struggle to keep this thing above 50. So right here is the bridge I was talking about. We'll see if it's windy or anything. Not too bad yet. No gusts of wind that I've felt, but you can see the lake is completely frozen with a bunch of snow on it, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I mean, not too windy. It definitely is a little bit windy, but if I take my hand off the wheel, you know, we're still going pretty straight. We went a little bit to the left right there, but nothing too crazy. So right here, we're going to be starting up this little uphill right here. So we'll see if we can keep up with this 18-wheeler ahead of us. So right now, my foot is on the floor, being completely honest about that, and we're dropping in speed. Going like 58 right now. See if we can pass this truck. Yeah, I mean, my foot's completely on the floor right now, and I'm not even like lying about that. And it's not downshifting for some reason. Let's see if it'll downshift whenever I keep going a little bit farther up the hill. Okay, I don't know what it's doing right now. We're going 45 right now with my foot to the floor. So that's one complaint that I have about this Jeep, is that it has trouble downshifting when you're going up a hill at a high rate of speed. Now by high rate of speed, I mean like 40 to 50 miles an hour or anything above that. So I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why it has trouble downshifting, but right now we're going 45 and a 70 on the interstate. So not the best highway driver in my opinion. Mainly for that reason, is just because of the downshifting issue. It just doesn't want to downshift right now with my foot completely on the floor. And usually sometimes whenever I take my foot off the throttle then put it back on, it'll downshift. So I'll try to do that off the throttle. Okay, so it downshifted right there, and now we might be able to actually like speed up a little bit. Still going 45 right now up this incline, and we have a few more miles to go up this hill, so we'll see how it goes. But we are climbing in speed right now. We're almost at 50 miles an hour right now. And by the way, it's soaking up the bumps really great. The lift kit did make it a little bit more stiff, but that's to be expected with pretty much any lift kit you get. It is going to make your suspension more stiff. Yeah, I don't have any issues with like the actual drivability, or not really like the handling either. I mean, for what you would expect for a 20-year-old XJ that's lifted on 31-inch mud tires, the handling really isn't too terrible. Now, you got to keep in mind it is a Jeep, so it's obviously not going to handle great if you compare it to like a regular passenger car or like a regular commuter car. So other than that, it's really not too bad. I think my biggest issue is just the acceleration issue. So, like I said, we're climbing up in speed a little bit. We're going almost 60 right now. My foot almost to the floor right now. I'd say I'm probably at like, actually I am on the floor right now. Yeah, my foot's completely on the floor. And we're going 60, almost to 60 right now. Okay, so now it just upshifted again, so we'll see if it gives us that same problem of going really slow and not downshifting. But yeah, my foot's still on the floor completely. Yeah, going around these turns right here, I mean, we're going 50 miles an hour, but it's handling the turns pretty well. If we were going 70, I don't think it would be too much of a problem, but then again, you gotta be more careful with a lifted Jeep than you would be with a regular, like, sedan commuter car. And also with these 31-inch mud tires, you definitely do notice, like, the sound of them a little bit more. You can, I don't know if this is coming out on camera, but you can kind of hear the humming sound of the mud tires, which to me, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm used to it by now. Like I said, soaking up the bumps really well, although it is pretty stiff. And also one thing that I've heard about lifted Jeeps is that they get death wobble, and I think it's more common in Wranglers than Cherokees, but I haven't experienced death wobble in this thing, so that's definitely a good thing. So a lot of the times when you lift a Cherokee like this, you experience vibrations whenever driving. I do have some vibrations, but it's really not too bad. I probably will go ahead and get a slip yoke eliminator with a brand new drive shaft, just to make sure everything's all good and get rid of those vibrations so nothing else like goes wrong. Yeah, we made it here to our exit, and that was pretty much the uphill portion of this video. So on the way back down, I'm going to show you guys how it handles going downhill, and we're actually going to be able to, you know, keep up with traffic hopefully, because we're going downhill. We won't have to worry about that acceleration issue. All right guys, so we are getting back on the highway, and this time we're actually going to be going down the hill. So we'll see how it handles. Hopefully we're going to be able to actually keep up with the flow of traffic and go 70 miles an hour, since we're going to be going downhill. So we won't have to worry about that acceleration issue or anything like that. All right, so right now we're going 55 and we're almost to 60 right now. Handling pretty well. The steering wheel is shaking just a little bit. I did get this thing aligned after I got it lifted, so the alignment shouldn't be an issue. It's very windy right now. It's not really affecting like the Jeep's handling at all, but I can definitely feel that it's very windy outside. And you can still hear the humming of those mud tires. All right, so going around this turn, we're going 60 right now, and not really having any issues with handling. There's very windy. You can see we kind of just drifted around a little bit over the lane. There is some kind of weird noise coming from the underside. I'm not really sure what that is though. It only happens whenever I take my foot off the gas. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear this right now. Then putting it back on the gas, and it just went away. I don't know if that came out on camera, but if anybody knows what that is, definitely let me know. Overall, it's handling pretty well. It's really not that difficult to keep it like inside the lane. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult, even with the wind. You guys can probably hear how windy it is right now. But we're handling these highway speeds just fine, going 65 right now downhill. Definitely have to pay more attention to steering because of the wind. It's kind of like trying to throw us all over the place. One thing I did want to say is that the visibility out of this Jeep is actually very good. So if you look back real quick, you can see there's basically no blind spots back there. So that's definitely a big plus with having a Jeep Cherokee like this. Going around another turn, we are going 60 right now. It's taking this turn pretty well. We got some bumps right here. I mean, nothing terrible. The Jeep soaks it up pretty well. It is more stiff though, so that's one thing to keep in mind. We're out on the bridge once again, out in the open where the wind is pretty strong, and you can see it's, you know, not really having any issues keeping it straight. Now we've got a nice hill coming up ahead of us, so we'll see how much it slows us down here. Bring my foot down a little bit, and yeah, we're basically floored right now. And our speed is declining very fast. We're going about 58 right now with my foot to the floor. And it just doesn't want to downshift for some reason. Let me know if anybody has the same issue with your XJ. Like, it just doesn't want to downshift if you're going a high speed, like over 40 or 50 miles an hour. It just won't downshift whenever you need to. So it'll just stay in the top gear and just keep slowing down. So we're sitting right at 58 right now, almost to 60, with my foot still to the floor. And it's kind of starting to straighten out a little bit, so we're not going completely uphill, or at least not as steep as we were before. All right, we passed 60. We're going 62 right now. See the wind's trying to throw us around a little bit, but you know, nothing we can't handle in this Jeep. Doing 60 miles an hour up this hill right now. My foot on the floor. Overall, for long trips, I probably wouldn't recommend an old Jeep like this, especially if it's lifted on 31-inch mud tires. But then again, that's just my own opinion. You might love driving your Jeep long distances. I don't know if I'm the only one that has the issue where the Jeep doesn't want to downshift when you need to go faster, like on a highway. But if that wasn't an issue, then I would probably not have a problem driving this thing for a longer distance on the highway. But I'd say for me, that's probably the biggest issue with driving this thing on the highway. I don't think the lift kit really added any kind of difficulty to driving it on the highway. Maybe the bigger tires made it go a little bit slower. Obviously, it did make it a little bit more unstable, which is to be expected after you lift the Jeep like this. To be honest, it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting. There are really no complaints with handling unless you're going like faster than 70, then it might have some issues with handling. But I mean, overall, it was handling the bumps, soaking up the bumps pretty well. Of course, it is going to be more stiff with the lift kit, but that's also something that you should expect and not really an issue for me. So overall, I think I am pretty impressed with how this Jeep handled that little short highway drive. Like I said, I don't think I would like to drive this thing long distances on the highway, mainly because of that acceleration issue. But I mean, the handling really isn't too bad. It soaks up the bumps pretty well. And I mean, as long as you're not going a crazy fast speed, if you're keeping it at 70, then you really shouldn't have any issues, as long as you're not going to be going uphill for a long amount of time. But I mean, if you live in a place where it's mostly flat and you don't have to worry about hills like I do here, then I mean, you should be fine driving this thing on the highway. Yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. If you want to see some more Jeep videos, definitely check out my channel, because I have like a bunch of repair videos and maintenance videos and things that I've done to this Jeep, along with some off-roading videos. I did take this Jeep through a snowstorm when it was completely stock, and I also took it through a different snowstorm after I got the lift installed along with the wheels and tires. So that was probably the most fun video that I've made so far, so definitely want to check that one out. So if you guys have any video suggestions for videos you'd like to see in the future, or any questions, make sure to drop those down in the comments below. And if you guys liked this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.